So I came up with a definition for an accidental brand. And what I wanted to do was to go out and look at a bunch of other people whose stories had not been told. And I wanted to look at people who didn't have formal marketing training, so an MBA or other formal marketing training. I also wanted people who solved their own problems. That's Julie Clark of Baby Einstein. She's another person that I talked to writing this book. So I was actually looking for people who felt a passion about something. Now, what's interesting about Roxanne, what she just said, is that she wasn't really a consumer, but what she was is somebody who had actually committed her life to living off the land and its products. And in the book, there's this wonderful description that she gives of how you use water, like when you have to carry it from a well. You don't just wash the sucker down the drain after you do the first thing with it. You actually use it for different things, this hierarchy of uses. And so she really was the embodiment, not of every consumer, but of this desire within her consumers. And so she didn't have to reach outside that. And I was also looking for brands that were 10 or more years old because I wanted people who had stuck by their brands and who had success with that. When I say accidental branding, this is not the type of accident I'm talking about. Okay, I don't intend in any way to imply that, oh, oops, I built a huge business. Oops, I have a Fortune 500 company. That's not what I was looking at. I was actually looking at accidental branding as sort of the idea of capturing lightning in a bottle. That something happened to somebody. There is an accident in each one of these stories. Whether it's Gary Erickson, who's the founder of Cliff Bar and Luna Bar. He was a very serious cyclist, and he was taking a ride that he hadn't done before with a friend. It was supposed to be 120 miles. At the 120-mile mark, he and his friend realized that they were on top of a mountain 60 miles away from where they needed to get for the day. And Gary had eaten 5 power bars. Now, power bars were a great invention for cyclists. They helped cyclists to maintain their energy. They actually used their entire store of energy during a long ride, and they help to keep that up, and it's a lot less cumbersome than bringing actual food, but it didn't taste anything like food either. And Gary realized he needed to eat his reserve 6th power bar, and he started to do that, and it's not in the book, but he actually started to retch, right? So he couldn't do it, and at that moment he realized, hey, I'm in a special position. Actually, I run a contract bakery. So as a little entrepreneurial side business, he was supplying Greek pastries to the San Francisco market. And I work at a bicycle factory. I run a manufacturing plant for Avocet. So he had actually designed industrial processes and knew how to run a production business. So he was in a unique position to solve the problem he immediately perceived, and his idea was, wouldn't a cookie taste better than this glue, which is sort of how he felt about the power, even though he liked the founder. That was somebody solving their own brand. So really when I talk about accidental branding, it's about a brand that starts with an accident, but then it's about what do those entrepreneurs do after the accident.